Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I'll have to say, ah, I had someone sent me a message on Facebook, and it was a thing from Britain's Got Talent. It was Deborah Weed, for those that know her, and it's something that I have seen on before. But it seems like every time I see it, because I've had it pop up in my feed over a period of time, and it always makes me cry. And so I just finished watching this right before I got on here, and it's like, oh, all right. So let me pull this up on my phone. Oh, because I can't hardly see because I got tears in my eyes. All right. So let's see where we're at. Good morning, Wendy. Let me set that right there. All right. So it's a beautiful day, and yesterday was so exceptionally hot. It was 99 degrees. And luckily, it's not that temperature now, and I don't think it's going to get that hot. I mean, there was a year or two ago that we had like, I forgot, like 20 days that were in the 90s, and it was like, oh, that was mind boggling. However, the weird thing to me was, see, I don't mind if it gets really, really hot during the day. Don't love it, but I don't mind it as long as the temperature at night gets to be a little more comfortable, right? But last night at 9 o'clock, it was still 90 degrees. And it's like, you know, so my air conditioner has been working nonstop, and I'm so eternally grateful that I have it, and that I don't work outside. So just had to say that. So I am grateful. Um, all right. So make sure as you get here that you say hello. Let me know that you're here. And I'm going to pop over here and see if I can see anything going on over here. All right. So, how are you guys doing? Are you guys doing good this morning? I see I've got Wendy on there, and then I've got Beth is, it says Beth is watching. So, good morning, Beth. Good to have you here. Just let me know. How is this morning treating you? Are you feeling good? Like I said, I'm feeling good, but that video is an emotional one, and not in a bad way. I mean, it's just like it's amazing. So it's inspirational, but it still makes me cry every single time. So I'm still trying to kind of regroup from that. Let me see if I can pop over here and see if some of the comments are starting here. Okay, here we go. Very excited going to business luncheon to introduce my old business coach who is a keynote speaker. Good morning, Wendy. You're struggling today. Well, is there something we can do to support you? You let me know. But thank you for being here. It's good to see you. And I did say, I think you invited me to something yesterday, and I have not had the opportunity to look at it yet. So I haven't signed up to say I'll be there or whatever. I'm pretty sure it was you. Wasn't it you, Wendy, that sent something, an invite to something you got going on? And how can we support you in this struggle that you have today? All right, so good. I will go and look at, and if for some reason I can't find it, which I should be able to. Yeah, not Wendy McDowell, not Wendy Unger. Sorry, I forget that there's more than one Wendy on here. Sorry. I have to be more specific, right? Oh goodness. Um Not struggling, just excited. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So is it because you got this thing coming up, or is it just you're just excited to be alive? What's going on? Let's dive in a little bit before we get to the affirmation and the journal prompt. Because that's what we're here ultimately for, right? To support one another. And the affirmation and journal prompt. And and it's interesting because I think this affirmation and journal prompt is going to be pretty good for you. And it feels like a lot of times it's the affirmation, the journal prompt that I create or I pick for the morning. It always seems to land perfectly for something that I'm needing. Um, oh, okay. Yes, yes. So, and so I'm looking forward to, is that's, and I hate to say this, but can't wait to see Michelle and get to introduce her. So there's so much going on with everybody, right? So Wendy McDowell said she was struggling today. So your old business coach is Michelle. Is that right? Wendy Unger. I'll use the last name so we don't get confused here. So Wendy McDowell, what's the struggle for you today, and how can we help you? Beautiful, Wendy Unger. Beautiful. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. Let me get back. I'm toggling between one window to the other, trying to make sure that I'm on top of everything. And I'm getting better at it. I will say I'm getting much better at it. And I'll have to share, it was so funny yesterday. I had decided, because I did Deborah Weed's podcast episode live on YouTube on last Wednesday, right? So I decided that I was going to do that every Wednesday. But yesterday, when I did my live, it was like, do I really want to just do a podcast, or I just want to talk? So I just decided to have a conversation. And I got so far into the conversation and everything. And all of a sudden, I got where I was coughing. I had to mute myself and had this coughing fit and everything. And I thought, the value of live, right? You can't stop anything. You just keep on going. And so I coughed, and then when I came back, my voice was kind of weird. But I thought, all right, that's just what live is, and we'll just go with it. So my goal right now is to every Wednesday at 7 p.m. to go live on YouTube with either a podcast or me actually just talking about something. So let me get, oh, where did I put it? Oh, there we go. Get distracted myself. It's funny because I was trying to type something into the StreamYard thing, because I have to put the title and all that stuff. And I was on the phone with my sister, and I said, "You can't talk right now." I said, "Because I'll start typing in what you're saying or what I'm saying. So just be quiet for a second. Let me type this in." And I don't know, do you guys have that happen? And I'll even notice that if I'm writing something and if somebody's talking to me, sometimes I end up writing their words instead of what I was thinking about writing. It's strange how the mind works, all right? All right, so today's affirmation: I trust in my ability to handle whatever comes my way. So how does that land for you? Do you trust that? Wendy McDowell, how does that resonate? You said you're struggling, and I don't know what that struggle is unless it's this thing that's coming up and you're just kind of trying to get things together. But if you want to share, you can share. But if you don't, that's that's perfectly okay too. So, and Wendy Unger, how does this land with you? I trust my ability to handle whatever comes my way. How do you feel? And I will say there have been, good morning, Kimmy. I will say there have been times in my life that I didn't really trust that. it's felt like so many things were so far out of my control, and I felt totally lost, like I was a ship at sea in the middle of the night, nothing that could steer me anywhere. And I've been there a few times, and it's a horrible, horrible feeling to feel like you're just tossed around and you feel like everything's out of your control. And so one of the things that I oh great, Wendy, you feel good about that. Good, good. And like I said, there have been times that it trusting my ability was not in my wheelhouse. And that is one of the things that I have really, really worked on all these years to get to a place where I do trust. I trust that God's there for me. I trust that the answers will come. And one of the things that I learned along the way, and you probably already know this, but I'll share anyway, is that we cannot solve anything. Um, okay, let me pop back over here so I can read without looking down here. I do trust my ability to handle things, and I'm frustrated with having to keep handling some of them. Oh, I get you. Yeah, it's like this keeps showing up for me, and so there's something underneath there. If you want to have a conversation, let's see if we can dig under and figure out what that is. You just let me know, Wendy, because um, I had a client yesterday that I worked with, and she was struggling with some stuff with anxiety and about a lot of different things. And we talked and did a process, and she said she felt like a different person when we finished. But if it's something that keeps showing up for you, then it's something that is really asking for your attention, right? And I'm sure you know that because you do a lot of this work. However, sometimes, like I said, we can't see our stuff while we're immersed in it, and that's why sometimes it takes an outside focus of someone that can say, "Oh, I see. This is something that's going on. Let's work on this." Um, so, as yup. And so, as we're looking at this, trusting in our ability to handle whatever comes our way, it's like each one of the things that we learn and we grow from that helps us to have that trust and like yes and faith. And so one of the things that's really paramount when it comes to this trusting in your abilities is sometimes we've made these changes in our lives and they for some reason they fall outside of our radar after they've happened, right? So one of the things that helps a lot of times is to go back and look at times in your life that something came up and you either handled it yourself or you knew and were able to reach out to someone else to help you to get some answers. And so if you can go back and find some of those instances in your life, then it solidifies a little bit more that yes, I can trust. Maybe it's not always going exactly the way I planned, but these things have come up in my life. I've survived them and I've come out on the other side even better. And so it's recognizing and celebrating the times that you were able to do that, even if it was something small, because the more we celebrate our accomplishments, the more we can feel accomplished and we can feel more confident in our abilities, right? So that's where that trust comes in, is we can trust things if we can actually look back and say, oh yeah, I did it here and here and here and here and here. So why do I think I can't do it now? And maybe it's a repeat thing. It just means there was another lesson in there that you didn't grab and it's time to grab it, right? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the journal prompt. Let me see if I've got what's coming up over here. All right, give me a second. I'm just checking to make sure if there's anything going on in any of these other windows. All right, so now I'm going to go to the journal prompt. And it's a little bit about what I just said. So you can go back and describe a situation where you successfully overcame a challenge. And how did that experience strengthen your self trust? And so this is one of those times too that we're going to take a moment to just get in to a quiet space and just breathe and quiet the chatter in our mind. And then we're going to just brain dump everything that comes up. And so, what you're going to do to begin with, or what I would do, you do however you want to do you, right? Is to just think of all the situations that came up that you can think of. And then after you've got those down, say, well, how did I overcome that? What was it? Was I able to do that within myself, or did I ask for help? Did someone say, oh, wait a minute, you're not looking at this part over here? And because sometimes people, like, they can see the bits and pieces. Like I say, what a coach does is, when we've got something that's going on, is they're up above us looking at it, and they're saying, oh, you think you're supposed to be going down this road to get where you're going. But wait a minute, if you would just take this little detour over here, then you would get there quicker. And it's like having a treasure map, so to speak, of what you're wanting to do, and your treasure's over here. And you've done those things before, I'm sure, where it has like the little goal that you're supposed to get to, and then it has all these little roads come out of it, and then you have to trace without going to a dead end, and you are doing all that stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about? I used to love doing those things, right? Sorry, I'm late. A 6-year-old grandson. Yes, yes, Carrie. Better late than never, right? Of course, you could watch the replay. So we haven't really done a lot. So if you want to go back and watch the replay, but good morning and thank you for being here, Carrie. So do you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it's like we used to do it as a kid. I know I did, where you'd start here and you started in the center, I think it was. Or no, you started you started, it would say start here, and then you would try to get to the path to get to that thing. And sometimes you'd have to start over because that one ended up a dead end, or it went somewhere else. And so that's kind of what I think a coach does for us, is that they have the cheat sheet, right? So if let's just imagine that it's a piece of paper, and you've got this overlay. Like when I was in school, they used to have the projector, and they would have the piece of paper there, and then they would have this plastic or this clear overlay that would have the answers and stuff, right? So just imagine that what the coach does is they have this overlay that they can put over there. So it shows you exactly the path to get where you want to go, or to get closer, quicker to where you want to go. Yeah. Yes, when you do something great, it makes you feel super. Yes, yes. So when you put this overlay on there, it just seems like, well, gosh, that's a no-brainer. That is so simple. And a lot of times we can't see any of that when we're in the situation, right? And that's why it's you're making me feel old about the projector. Too funny, because I definitely had that projector thing. And let me just share one of my one of my clients, her son, hold on. Her son works for this tech company. And the thing that they do is they go into the schools now, and they put up these TV screens to where everything shows up on the TV, and they have this no projector, right? No overhead projector, no any of that stuff. It's like all TVs, it's wired in. And so during the summer, while the schools are closed, they're going in and replacing all the screens, these electronic things, and all the announcements are done up there and everything. And I'm thinking, what the heck? We listen to it, which makes me think, I don't even know when TVs came out. I don't remember when that happened. I'm sure it was before I was born, but I think. However, I mean, when you think about it, they used to do where they just listen to the audio thing. But what I love thinking about now is how immersed in it. And I remember thinking, how could they get so into it when they can't see it, right? But I do that now every time I listen to an audiobook. If it's actually a story, like I listened to one not too long ago that was so good. And if anybody wants to know what it is, I can go back and look, but I do not remember. But it was a story, but there were actors playing out the story in this audiobook. And so every character was a different voice. They had all the sound effects and everything, just like they did back in, was it in the 40s? I don't know, when they were doing all that. And so it doesn't feel interesting to see that it's coming all back around. People are loving these audiobooks, and that's basically what those were. They were audio books, or they were audio stories, right? Because they weren't movies, but it was the audio version. And that would get so exciting too. And so I know I'm getting off topic, which I do that all the time, right? But the thing that is amazing to me is how our imagination can create so much more than watching something visually. Our imaginations are so powerful, right? And so anytime you can go into your imagination as you're describing the situation where you successfully overcame a challenge, then play with that a little bit and then back up and say, oh, this was a challenge, and just use your imagination a little bit to see, if you had done this or you'd done that or you'd done that, how would that have panned out? And just kind of explore it a little bit and see what you feel around all this. Oh, hold on. Let me what's going on over here? I'm listening, but I have to step away to get ready to go. Okay, I gotcha. Were they known as talkies, audiobooks back in the day? I think they were called talkies, but I'm not so sure. But they were, I wouldn't think they would have, they're not audio books because they were, I don't know, hell, maybe they were. But isn't it interesting to think about? Because years ago I thought, oh, that is so sad that they didn't have movies to watch, right? That hadn't been invented yet, and they had to listen to it. But man, oh man, listening to this book recently, and it's not where, because I've listened to a lot of books where they're just reading the story, right? But this one was, they were acting the story. They had a full cast of people acting out the story. And so it was very different. And I loved it. I loved it. So back to our journal prompt. Oh, goodness. So as I get back to the journal prompt, describe a situation where you successfully overcame a challenge, and how did that experience strengthen your trust in yourself, your trust in God, your trust in the situation, right? A trust in your abilities to discern, what did I learn? How did I grow? I mean, how does it strengthen your trust? We talk a lot about keeping our word to ourselves, and that strengthens our trust, and our subconscious mind will say, hey, they do what they say, right? And so I'm going to help them. I'm going to be their accountability partner. I'm going to help them to do what they said. And then on the other hand, if you're not keeping your word to yourself, and my example always is, or it seems like it is a lot of times, if you tell yourself you're going to get up in the morning and you're going to work out, and then you hit the snooze and it gets too late and you don't do it, and you do that often enough, the next time you really desperately say, I'm going to do this, and you're going to do it, when you wake up and you really feel energized to go, your subconscious mind is going to pop in and say, oh, this bed feels really comfortable. Just hit the snooze a couple of times. It'll be fine. You have more energy when you do that, and it'll give you all these reasons why, and you'll hit that snooze and you'll keep perpetuating that same pattern, right? However, if you start doing this thing where, if you say you're going to work out in the morning and you put your shoes out, then you get up, you put on your workout clothes, instead of hitting the snooze, you get up and you do that. And it doesn't matter what you do from that point. It is giving yourself the opportunity to work out. And then if you only do a couple of things and then you decide, I'm done, and you go lay back down, that's great. And so I like to say it's easier to see this example if you're saying you're going for a walk. So you put on those shoes and you walk out the door. You come back in, go back to bed. You've done what you said you were going to do. And then, so you keep repeating that. So sometimes you get walked out the door, and then suddenly you're going to feel like, well, I think I want to go ahead and keep doing my walk. The same way with if you said you were going to work out, you put on the shoes and you put on the workout clothes, then you may feel more compelled to do it anyway. But you're teaching your subconscious mind that you keep your word to yourself. And so over time, if you keep doing that, even if you're not doing the full blown workout, you're not just all in, right? There's going to be a morning that comes that you said you were going to work out and you really want to work out. And when you wake up, your subconscious mind's going to say, oh my gosh, remember how good you felt the last time you really worked out like that? It's time to get up and go work out. You're going to feel so good. You're going to be energized, and it's going to give you this pep talk. So if you train your subconscious mind to see that you do what you say, then it's going to be your accountability partner by constantly reminding you of how moving forward with this action is better, right? Hold on a second. Let me see what this says. Joining the do the thing, facing the challenges, was not sure how it was going to pan out, but I trusted myself to see these challenges through. I followed through. I have not looked back. I've been blessed and challenged. Yes, yes, yes. What does that say? Were they known as? Oh yeah, we already did that one. And so once again, anybody that is watching on any of the other platforms, make sure you say good morning, say hello, let me know that you're here. And if you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay so that I know you're getting some info and enjoying what we're doing here, right? All right, so when I'm talking about all of this accountability with your subconscious mind, it is so important. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? So you're not going to do this one day and the next day your subconscious mind's going to say, get up, do it. No, because you've already had this pattern that it believes, right? And oh, cool. Sorry, I was just getting a text. All right. So just think about it. When you successfully overcame that challenge, how did it strengthen your self-trust? Because it always does when you overcome something. That's why it's important to do this process, to go back and look at those things and celebrate the fact that you did, right? That you did over the challenge. And it doesn't matter if you did it by yourself or if you asked for help. You know, if you reached out to a coach or you reached out to a friend, a coworker, a colleague, another person in the group, whatever, it's that you did that and recognize. Because one of the things that's really important is we're not in this alone. No matter what's going on, you're not a ship in the ocean all by yourself. There are places and people that you can come to actually talk through things, work through things, and create change, right? And that's what this group is so amazing about, is there's so many people in here that if you put a post up that you've got this challenge that's coming up and you're just kind of talking through it, you're not even asking for advice, but you don't know who in this group would have the perfect thing to say or the perfect assistance for you. Because that's what the group is. We collect people that are just all so connected in one way or another. It's a vibration thing, right? And you may not know everybody in the group, but be part of the group and ask, talk about it. And nobody's going to say, oh, you're so stupid. Why are you thinking that? What are you doing? Yada, yada, yada. Nobody in this group is going to do that. No, ma'am. No, sir. Right? It is here for you. And utilize this group for all the amazing things that it can do. And ask for help. That's an amazing thing. a lot of times people, it's like, you know how they say that, and this is stereotypical, right? So I'm not saying that, but what do they say about men and asking for directions? They will flounder around lost for a long time before they'll say, I don't know, I'm lost, right? Whereas if you would ask for directions, or if you would stop and get directions, ask for help or something. Now, that's not as relevant today as it was years ago before we had all the GPS stuff. But you get into a very rural area, your maps don't work. And so you can flounder around for hours not finding where you want to go. And it's interesting. There's a story I have really quick about that. It's my daughter and I. We had gone to a place that's where they have like apple festivals and all this thing that's about an hour and a half from us, right? And we had gone there, and I thought I knew how to get home from this location. And that at that time, we didn't have GPSs in our cars all the time. And I was in a more rural area, so it probably wouldn't have worked anyway. And now that I think about it, maybe we did have a GPS then. Maybe, I think we did. And it wasn't working. So we're driving. And finally I see some man on this road walking on the side of the road. And I stopped and I said, okay, this is where we're going. How do I get there? And so he gave us directions, and we got to the interstate, because that's all I told him I wanted to do, was get to the interstate. So one of the things that's interesting, it took us way away, far away from where we wanted to be. But all I told him was I wanted the quickest way to the interstate. I didn't say I want to get to Kennesaw. He might have taken us a whole different way. And so we drove and we drove and we drove. Now, it was fun. We had a great time. That was great scenery. We saw places we had never seen before. But the thing is when I stopped and asked for directions, I wasn't as clear on a definite destination. I was clear on, I thought I had to get to I-75 to get where I wanted to go, which was probably not true at all, right? So he would have taken me to a different place had I said, we're lost and we're trying to get to Kennesaw. He might have routed us differently, correct? Wouldn't you think? I don't know why I said correct. Wouldn't you think? So we do that in life. We do that when we're setting goals a lot of times. And we have in our minds, we have this destination of where we're wanting to go. But we think, instead of saying, I want to have this business with this kind of impact on people, we say, I want to make this amount of money. I want to do it this way. I want to hone this skill a little bit more because that's what's going to get me there. But in actuality, it might be something totally different. And so I want you to look at, the situations that you found in your life and that you overcame. And as you're looking at them, I want you to kind of maybe explore a little bit. When you were in those situations, who did you ask for help, right? And when you asked for help, what were you asking for? And just spend some time exploring all of this, because we can figure out where we're going by how we've shown up in the past a lot of times. And it's an indicator to us that this is where I need a little bit more work. And so maybe some of that work is developing more self-trust. So, like I said, on this journey that my daughter and I were on, we could have probably easily gotten home way sooner and had a really good time doing that too, if we had given him our destination that we were going to, not the trail we thought we were going to have to get to that destination. Does that make sense? I don't know. All right, let's see what's going on here. All right. Anybody going to chime in and let me know? Does that make sense? Or have you ever had that experience where you're wanting to go somewhere, you get lost, and you tell them something like that? Hold on. Let me see what's going on over here. Yes, it does. Yeah. And so we're looking at things a little bit differently to realize that a lot of times we do that in our lives, right? That we tell somebody to help us to get to this path, not to get to our destination. I guess that's the best way to put it. And so just think about the challenges that you faced and how we can learn from all of those things so that we understand a little bit more about our patterns. And as we understand our patterns, we can really, really hone in on how to overcome the challenges that we've faced. And we can maybe bypass challenges that are coming but with that said, there are a lot of the challenges are there to help us to grow and become. So, it's all intertwined, but we don't want to keep repeating the same things over and over and over again because what is it that they say is that the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing and expecting different results. And so by looking at all of these things and what are our typical patterns and how do we reach out and what do we ask for, it's going to help us to hone in so that as we're going forward, we're going to face other challenges. That's just nature, right? But that's growth. But we don't want to keep repeating the same damn thing. Let's get that lesson, baby, and move on so that you can grow and learn something more, right? All right. So I feel like I have just wandered about all the trenches all over the place this morning and not sure why, because it's like it just keeps popping in my head. So I don't have a clue, but I will say that I have a client I have to get to. So I will be ending this. Is there anything that anybody has that they want to ask about or talk about? Oh, before I forget, I also want to remind everybody that tonight at 6 p.m. is when I'm going to be doing the Q&A for anybody that's interested in learning a little bit more or they have questions about the masterclass and the program, some of the stuff that we're going to be doing. It's going to be fun. I don't have a clue how many people are going to be there because I have had a few people that have private messaged me about things. So, I'll just be there and we'll see what happens. Okay. So if you have questions, be there at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. And then at 7 p.m. Eastern, Luis is going to be sharing in the group. I'm going to be teaching my biz class tonight. I'm utilizing some of your affirmations. Yay, Kimmy. Yay. I'm glad to hear it. So anything that I share is you're welcome to share too. And if any of them would like to join the group, just ask them if they'd like to join the group. And because if they're really getting into your affirmations and journal prompts, they might want to. So, but just give them that link, the vickypool.com, and let them come in and answer the questions and stuff. But yeah, that would be great, Kimmy. Share away. Yes. Thank you, Kimmy. So let's continue to move forward with all of this. And so let me get back. I swear, I don't know why I'm so distracted this morning. What is this about? The affirmation is, I trust in my ability to handle whatever comes my way, right? And so put that on your index cards, your sticky notes, your screensaver on your phone. Put it somewhere that it's there in front of you today, okay? Okay, beautiful, Wendy. Beautiful. Glad to have you there. It's going to be entertaining. And I will say he's such an amazing person. And so I created this event the other day, right? So that everybody would know this was when it was happening. and he's also offered a program into my program. And so he messaged me last night and he was freaking out. He said, "Oh my God, so I'm supposed to deliver the program tonight?" said, no, no, no. He said, you created an event. I said, it's just for your live. It's just for us to have this conversation. Oh, okay. He said, I'm not ready to do the program. Well, that's not time yet. So it was just funny. And it goes to show, well, when how sometimes the little communication piece is not there, right? And we happen to do that all the time, right? We think people know exactly what we're doing. So I should have sent him a message and said, hey, I know you've got the program that you're going to be doing with us in July. However, when this live, I'm going to create this event. I should have, but it did. I don't know why it didn't occur to me. So anyway, I now know that that is a thing that I need to do, right? And then let's go to the journal prompt. Describe a situation where you successfully overcame a challenge. And did that experience strengthen your self-trust, or how did it? So make sure that you write it in your notebook, your journal, and just brain dump as much as you can, and just let it all flow out without any judgment. Just surrender to it. Just let it go. And then go in and celebrate all those things, no matter how the solution came. Celebrate. All right. So today will be a day of celebration of how you successfully overcame challenges in your life. You game? I'm game. So later on today, I will be sitting and doing this journal prompt right along with you guys so that I can get into my celebration mode too. All right. So you have an exceptionally blessed day. Hopefully, I'll see you tonight at 6 p.m. for the Q&A, and then at 7 p.m. with Luis. And then I will be here again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern with the day's affirmation and journal prompt. So I will be seeing you a lot. Mwah.